Hi, my name is James, and I'll be presenting this hackathon project called Agent Swap. So this hackathon project addresses a big problem in automated market makers. So if you look at traditional initial automated market makers like Uniswap v2, liquidity is spread across an entire price curve from zero to infinity. This is very inefficient because there's a lot of your liquidity that will never be used. So, for example, with $100,000 of provided liquidity, you might generate only a 1.8% return in fees. There's also the risk of heavy and permanent loss, which is addressed in concentrated liquidity design market makers. With concentrated liquidity market makers, you can specify the price range that you stake your liquidity in. So there's 10 times better capital efficiency, but it requires monitoring of the price. So if price goes out of the range that you've staked your liquidity in, you won't be earning any fees. So you need to constantly monitor the price, or you need to set an extremely wide range for your liquidity provision. So most users who use concentrated liquidity can miss potentially 50% of fees and underperform the market. So there is a gap where retail users can compete with professional market makers because they have no way of automatically monitoring their liquidity positions. So our hackathon project is an AI-powered liquidity monitor. So we built a fully autonomous AI agent that manages Uniswap v3 positions using reinforcement learning. So we use PPO reinforcement learning, which predicts the best way to reallocate your liquidity trained on 100,000 simulations. So this agent runs 24/7. Once you've approved the agent to track your position, it tracks the pool, price movements, and volatility, and it calculates the best way to reallocate your position. And it's also non-custodial, so users still retain full ownership of their liquidity. So the result is 25 times more fees than the traditional AMM and 5 times more fees than a passive liquidity provision in a concentrated liquidity market maker. Um, so you can potentially earn 79% APY in 30 days. And in our project, we use real Uniswap v3 contracts that we build on top of. So it's production ready code that could be launched today. So now we're going. So now we're going to demo the project. So we'll start with the front end. So this is a front end that shows the different pools that we can trade in. We can view the details of the pool, the tokens that you can trade between, the current liquidity. So you can see we have 100,000 liquidity, the pool address. We can also create new pools with different tokens. We can swap between these tokens in the pool. We can add liquidity to that pool. So if there's no liquidity, you can't trade. But so we can add liquidity positions. So we specify the upper and the lower bound of our position. So that say let's say you want to create a position between apples and oranges. So you can specify a ratio of the minimum amount of apples and the maximum amount of apples to oranges that you would let your assets be traded between, and then you can view your liquidity positions. You can manage these, so you can collect your fees, remove the liquidity, and add more liquidity. And finally, we have our AI agent that will manage positions. So we can approve the agent. This will open our MetaMask, so we need to sign in. We need to confirm, and that will approve. So now if we have a look at the AI agent, so we can create a terminal and start that. So we should have the agent that we can run here. So let's start the agent. So the agent will say that it's not approved for the position. So if we go back, so we did approve it. So I might just need to pick it up on the next iteration. So we might just need to restart the agent to get it to work. So we'll kill the agent and restart it. Okay, cool. So here you can see the agent's be started. It has this address. It found our position. So we were the owner. We had the liquidity, and it picked up the position range, so the upper and lower bounds. It calculated a rebalance, so the AI agent figured out that it's better if we rebalance the position and set the lower bound to 360 and the upper bound to 300 instead of negative 2 2040 and positive 2040. So the AI agent will rebalance the position for us. So if we go back to the UI, we'll see our new rebalance optimized position that's more profitable. Thanks for watching.